So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Welcome back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Friday, December 4th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. It is, in fact, Friday, December 4th. It is a football Friday. Got all my game picks on today. Hope everyone's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. Yesterday was an interesting sports day. Not much on, to be honest with you. But there was some basketball games. I was watching a couple of the games. Kind of just going back and forth. It was nothing crazy. Would have much rather a Thursday night football game on, but at the end of the day, it is sports. So, I enjoy college basketball. Wasn't anything huge. I had the Florida-Boston College game on. The Iowa game I saw a little bit. Florida-Boston College, I watched the majority of that game. As a matter of fact, I might have watched that whole game. I'm not sure. But, yeah, it was a blowout, but it's basketball. So, it's kind of an interesting day yesterday. Not much on a Thursday. Usually that's odd. Usually, that's usually the case. Usually that's not the case. Usually you got Thursday night football. But with the whole resituating of the schedule, since Baltimore had to play on a Wednesday, you're not going to play that back-to-back. They now have to. But you already know. We've already ran through this so many times. So this is, in fact, a football Friday today. We got a lot of stuff to talk to. We have no game yesterday to talk about, which means even more time for us to talk about our game picks. So we got a game pick. So this is what's on tap for today. We got our NFL game picks / the Jets and the Giants. You already know I've been doing this for what? This is the 13th week of the season. Been doing it every week, every Friday. The football Friday will give you. You already know it, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Give you who I think is going to win, why, give a special preview for the Jets and the Giants since I really hone in on New York sports and all that good stuff. Then we got the fantasy football overview. We'll give you all the stuff you need to know. We'll give you my lineup, questionables, who's in, who's out, players to watch, players you can start, kind of stuff like that, all that stuff. Then college football, college basketball, Miami and Kentucky. Miami plays this weekend, and so does Kentucky. Kentucky plays on Sunday. Miami obviously plays tomorrow. Miami is finally back at it. After a 2-week off, they are finally back at it. They play Duke tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ACC Network. So I will definitely be watching that game. I've been missing the Miami Hurricanes not playing on Saturday, so that is very good that they are back. This is the first time in 2 weeks that they will be playing again. It seems like a pretty long time, just because I've really have missed them. But obviously they're back, and that's all that matters. We play Duke this weekend. It's a big game. It's an inter ACC. Nothing crazy. It's not like any big game, any huge game. But we gotta win. I've always said this with Miami, right? We have a good football team. Derek King, guys like that. Cameron Harris, you already know. I mean, I've mentioned these players so many times when I talk about Miami. We have a very good football team. We have to win the games we should win, and that's all you can ask for. And this might sound so obvious, but I'm saying Miami this season has had some hiccups. Even though we've won those games, we've had some mess ups. And you can even say against Virginia Tech, it was not our most beautiful win. It got ugly, but we got the job done. And at the end of the day, win's a win. And the same thing you could say for when we beat what's it called? Not Georgia Tech, sorry. When we beat Pittsburgh. You could even say the same thing when we beat Pittsburgh. It was not our best win. I think we won 31-19. It was not our best game. It got a little ugly. It was not our cleanest football game ever. But we got the job done. But that's what's holding us back, I think, from really getting close to the college football playoff. Is the games we need to win, we're winning them, but we're not winning them to our full potential. I feel like a lot of times these games are closer than what they need. And in college football, NFL means absolutely nothing. In college football, the spread means everything. If you're projected to win by 10 points and you win by 3, everyone's going to be so disappointed in you. In the NFL, if you win, that's how hard it is to win in the NFL. If you win in the NFL by 3 and you were projected to beat them by 10, it doesn't matter. You got the win. College football, the spread means a lot more. That's also because of the rankings. If one team just cruising, winning every game they're supposed to win, and by the supposed amount, they're going to go. Miami's got to win this game. Miami, they've already fallen back, right? Miami, with the COVID outbreak they had, that actually hurt them because they now missed 2 games. So, they instead of playing 2 more games, which would get them to, I think, 10 games, they're now only going to play their 9th game. So they've got to win the games they need to win. That's what I'm asking out of Miami. And I do think they'll do it this week. Duke is having a very bad year. But Miami just has to get the job done. We'll talk about all that, though, coming up later on in the podcast. So with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So, yes, it is another Football Friday today. We're going to get right to the picks because there was no Thursday night game to talk about yesterday. So we're going to get right to the picks. Before that, I just want to say, I know I say this about every day almost, it seems, but I enter the week at 122-63, so hopefully that number goes up, and maybe I get to 130 wins, 132. 132 would be ideal. That would be another double-digit win week, which would be very ideal. But that's not really my whole goal. I mean, of course, my goal is to go every pick correct every week, unless if it's the Jets pick, because I usually hope that if I predict the Jets to lose, I hope that I'm wrong with that. Usually, I'm correct. I've been 12-0 this season on the Jets, or 11-0 this season on the Jets picks, because I predicted them to lose every single game, and they're 0-11, so I'm 11-0 on the Jets picks. But it's the truth, though. 122-63, so still on a very good trajectory of finishing above 500. At this point, I don't even know if it's mathematically possible for me to finish below 500. I mean, I would have to get 50 picks wrong about, 100 minus 63, that's 37. And then that's like 50. No, that's like 60. Okay, 69. I have to lose. I think I'm pretty much mathematically, I'm finished above 500. But now it's kind of just getting those wins. So I enter the week 122-63, coming off of a blazing week, 12-4. So hopefully the numbers just keep going up, and hopefully we just keep climbing and getting to higher and higher wins. That's obviously the whole goal. So let's get into the game picks. Like I said, no Thursday game to cover, so we can get to the game picks, and I actually might have even a little bit more time to talk about the game picks because there is no to cover, although there's less games this weekend on Sunday, since there are 3 games. Washington Steelers and Bills Niners are on Monday, and you got the Tuesday game between the Cowboys and the Ravens. So there's 3 games that are not being played on Sunday, so there's actually kind of less picks. So I technically only have to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 picks, usually to my usual 15 or 14. So 2 less picks, I think, because there's usually a Thursday night game, then the 1 Monday night game. But anyway, so let's get into it. So we're going to start off like always. You already know the drill. Unless if you're new here, like always, I do a special preview for the Jets and the Giants, so I'll really break down who I think is going to win the games, because I talk about New York sports, so I really hone in on the New York sports teams. And for the other ones, I just give you kind of a broad who I think is going to win and why. So let's get into it. Week 13 NFL game picks. Here we go. We got the Bengals and the Dolphins starting us off. Dolphins come into this game 7-4. Bengals come into this game 2-8-1. The spread for this game, Dolphins are 11.5 point favorites, and the over/under is 42.5. I said this all season long. I predicted the Dolphins to lose last week. I'm going to predict them again to lose again this week. I said this at the beginning of the year. I thought this Bengals team, I predicted the Dolphins to win last week. This Bengals team, I said at the beginning of the year, was a very good team. I said not very good. I said they're a good team, but they're just not winning games, right? They have talent. They're better than what their record shows them. I can no longer say that anymore because their record is how they are playing. They lost Joe Burrow. Their offensive line might be actually the worst in the league, which I think that's a very good possibility. Probably the worst offensive line in the league. Without Joe Burrow, you got your third string quarterback in, your practice squad quarterback to really be realistic, not just third string. He was on the practice squad before he got called up last week to start. You got your third string quarterback. You're without your first overall pick in Joe Burrow, probably the worst offensive line in the league. Your defense isn't very good. Your receiving core outside of T. Higgins is kind of struggling. Tyler Boyd's had a couple games here and there. AJ Green's, he's completely gone. He's lost. AJ Green's lost. You could forget about AJ Green. So this is a struggling team. I give the Dolphins win. I think they cover easily. I know 11.5 is a lot to cover, but I think the Dolphins cover easily. You get Tua back, Devontae Parker. You get Myles Gaskin back, and they've had a lot of running back problems last week. Last week they fumbled running the ball twice with their running backs against the Jets. Myles Gaskin's back. They're going to get their running back, who I think is a very underrated running back in this league. He's had a very good year. They're going to get him back. They're playing against a banged-up Bengals team and a banged-up Bengals defense all around. Tua's going to have a good game. Bengals are going to win this one very easily, 31-10. Bengals blow them out of water. I take the under on the over-under 42.5. And this is a big game for the Dolphins. The Dolphins I have winning. Did I say Bengals? The Dolphins I have winning, 31-10. Take the under on the over-under 42.5. Dolphins winning. Jeez, I don't know why I keep on saying the Bengals. This is a big game, too, for the Dolphins, because it's a big game, too, for the Dolphins because if they win, they're 8-4, and then the Bills would then be 8-3 as well, and the Bills lose, then right there, and the Bills at the moment are underdogs against the Niners, which I completely disagree with. Not saying that they're not going to win, but I mean, not saying that they're going to win. I just don't agree with the spread at the moment. But I think that Bills-Niners game is going to be a good game. This is a Dolphins team. They just got to keep winning and just hope the Bills lose. That's all they got to do. Sadly, though, for Dolphins fans, their schedule, the Bills, their schedule is very winnable the rest of the way. And I was talking to someone the other day about it. The Bills, the rest of the way, their schedule, every game they can win on their schedule. They're all winnable. They're all winnable games. It's just a matter of can they win them. They're not crazy winnable, but how the Bills have shown us they can win. So the Dolphins, I think, win this game very easily. No Burrow, really no, bad offensive line, stuff like that. Bengals get crushed. Dolphins pick up a win at home. They move to 8-4 in the season. I give them the win, 31-10. Take the over on the over-under 42 and under on the over-under 42.5, and I have them covering. This, by far, I think a lot of people think is probably the game of the week, which is possible. Although I don't think this is going to be a crazy close game. I think one of the teams wins pretty easily. But next up, we got the Titans and the Browns. Titans come into this game 8-3. Browns come into this game 8-3 as well. Titans are 5.5-point favorites. The over/under is 53.5 for this game. I'm going to take the Titans here, and the reason why I'm going to take this is neither team's passing game is amazing. Neither team's passing game is amazing. It's not, and neither team's is unreal. Ryan Tannehill is not an insane quarterback. Baker Mayfield is not an insane quarterback. It's both these teams' run games that are getting them to these 8-3 records, these 8-win records through 11 games. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt for the Browns. Then you got Derrick Henry, who I think is one of the best, if not the best, running back in all the league in terms of just straight up running back. I think the Titans win this game. I know the Browns are 8-3, and I know I always disagree when people say, "Oh, they're not that good." Well, when they're 8-3 though, I know that, but I really don't think they're that good of a team. I don't think the Browns are that good, right? They haven't had that one key win. Everyone can always look at these games. It's some of these teams can look at some of these people can look at these games and say they haven't really had that one key win. The Colts maybe was that one key win, but even in there, that wasn't a crazy win because I think the Colts are overrated. They got crushed against the Steelers, and they barely beat the Texans. They barely beat the Jaguars. I don't think this Browns team's all that good. I think 8-3 shows a lot more than what they really are, and I think Baker Mayfield is getting padded by the 8-3 record. I think the Titans win this game pretty easily. I think they win 31-21. They cover. And I take the 31-21 would put me at 52. I take the under on the over-under of 53.5. Next up, we got the Colts and the Texans. Colts come into this game 7-4. Texans come into this game 4-7. Colts are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is 50.5 for this game. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to take the Colts in this one, but I think both teams are going to play a good game. I think this is going to be a very close game. I don't think the Colts cover the 3.5. I'll tell you that for sure. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think what wins this game is for the Colts is because at times that Colts defense is so dominant. You could say it's one of the best defenses we have seen in the past couple of seasons. Not only this season, but the past couple of seasons. And that's saying something because there's been some good defenses that have stepped on that football field the past couple of seasons. This is a Colts team that is very good on the defensive side of the ball. And I think if their defense wasn't that good, I think I would give the Texans a win, because I think the Texans, and led by Deshaun Watson, they're getting David Johnson back off of the IR. They are getting healthier. Will Fuller did just get suspended, which hurts them very much. I give the Colts the win. I think it's going to be very close. 31-28. Colts win. I'm going to go back to the Packers game. It's going to be a last-second field goal by Rodrigo Blankenship that wins the Colts this game. I have them winning 31-28. And with that being said, 31-28 would put me at 31 plus 28 would put me at the over-under of 50.5. I think it's going to be a very close game. But I think late the Colts make some big stops and win the game. Next up, we got the Jaguars and the Vikings. Vikings come into this game 5-6. Jaguars come into this game 1-10. The over-under is 51. I don't even have to preview this one. Vikings winning, and they're covering 35-7. They're going to destroy them. Take the under on the over-under of 51, and I think the Vikings cover. Okay, if you wanted me to give a little bit, you got Mike Glennon started for the Jaguars. There's nothing going right for that team outside of, you could say, James Robinson, who has been their phenomenal running back this season, and I think is a very underrated running back in this league. Outside of him, nothing going positive for this team. They had Gardner Minshew, he injured. Then they have Jake Luton. They get out of here. Then they had Mike Glennon up. Is Mike Glennon going to be this guy? No, he's not. Vikings. This is the one. If you're a Jaguars fan watching this, and I don't imagine there's many Jaguars fans watching my podcast right now. If you're a Jaguars fan watching this game, or watching this right now, the one thing you could say, the one thing you could possibly say that gives you the win in this game is that the Vikings, their schedule is insanely easy, and this is a team, it reminds me of kind of the Jets last season. The Jets last season were trying to make, and a lot of people were saying it, we're trying to make a late season playoff push. Not that they were going to make the playoffs, but they were trying to make it interesting. And then they tripped up against the Cincinnati Bengals, who you could say are this year's Jaguars, or who are this year's Jets, because the Bengals last season were awful. Then they tripped up against the Bengals last season. Same thing here. This is a team trying to make a late playoff push, about 5-6 right now. They started off 1-5, and now they're trying to make a late push. Well, it's going to be tough, but I do think they win this game. But also, you might catch them looking ahead to that Buccaneers game, which I think is a very winnable game for the Vikings. But I do give the Vikings a win here because that's how bad the Jaguars are. But if you want to think positive as a Jaguars fan in a season full of negatives, and I feel you Jaguars fans, I'm a Jets fan. If you want to think of positive, then you got to think of that. But I know a lot of Jaguars fans are just hoping that they lose so then they could try to get either Lawrence or Justin Fields. Although I think Lawrence goes to the Jets. But yeah, so I have the Vikings winning very easily. Next up, we got the Bears and the Lions. Bears come into this game 5-6. Lions come into this game 4-7. Bears are 3-point favorites. The over-under is 45 for this game. Okay, I'll tell you what. When I was looking through these games and making my picks earlier, because I obviously do them before the podcast, when I was looking through this game and making my picks earlier, I was like, geez, this has got to be one of the worst games on this slate. Like, meaning, in terms of meaning. The the Lions, at least that Vikings against the Jaguars game, you could say has meaning to it. If the Vikings lose that game, their playoff hopes are completely done. We know the Bears are probably not going to make the playoffs. The Vikings have a shot because they have such an easy schedule upcoming. And the Bears, on the other hand, really don't have an easy schedule. They still got to play the Texans, still got to play the Vikings, and Green Bay. They still don't have that very easy of a schedule. So, the Bears are probably done. And I think the Vikings are better than the Bears. So, at least the Vikings have a little bit of terms of meaning. And you could even say, oh, well, what about that Jets game? Does that have any meaning? Yes, it actually does. If the Raiders lose that game, they fall to 6. Not for the Jets, it doesn't have any meaning, other than just not going 0-16. For the Raiders, if they lose that game, they fall to 6-6, and they're going to be laughed at because they lost the Jets. And also, that could really destroy them in the playoffs if they fall another game like that. This game means absolutely nothing. Lions win, okay, you get 5-7. Okay, Bears win, okay, you're 6-6. You still have a very difficult schedule. You probably lose next week because you're playing the Texans, right? So, right? So, I think the Bears win this game, and I think it's going to be a very insanely low-scoring game. I think it's going to be one of the more boring games on the slate. I think the Bears win this game, and I know a lot of people might say, oh, the Lions, they're going to be like the Falcons and the Texans. They're going to go on a little bit of a winning streak because they fired Matt Patricia, and that does happen often. I could see where you're coming from, and when I was making this pick, I kind of thought of that too. You're firing your head coach. A lot of times teams want to play harder when their head coach gets fired, just because they want to show, that we are still a good team. It was on the coach, and they also want to show the fan base, and the fan base too, wants to prove it. These people want to prove it. It was on the head coach. It was not the players. It's the head coach. I do give the Bears the win because as bad as they are and as bad as the Lions are, if I had to pick a poison here, I would take the Bears only because their defense. Their defense gets the edge. Their offense is awful. Awful. But if I had to choose, I would pick the Bears here, and I'm going to take the Bears. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I'll go 17-10. Bears win. I take the under on the over-under of 45. I think they cover. Next up, we got the Saints and the Falcons. Saints come into this game 9-2. Falcons come into this game 4-7. The over-under is 45 for this game, and the Saints are 3-point favorites. I was interested when I saw this spread because I don't think the Saints should really be 2-point favorites. I don't think they should be underdogs. I think they should be favored by a lot more. I don't think it should be 3-point favorites. 3-point favorites, in my opinion, is a little outrageous. Just a little bit. 3-point favorites against the Falcons. I understand the Falcons have played some good football the past couple weeks. They beat what a lot of people think is a wild card team in the Las Vegas Raiders. Last week, 43-6. I think they dominated them. Made Derek Carr look awful. I understand that, but I don't think that Taysom Hill has done exactly what these Saints have wanted him to do. And they just played the Saints. The Falcons just played the Saints a couple weeks ago. As a matter of fact, I think it was just a week ago or 2 weeks ago. They just played the Saints. They got demolished. They're playing the Saints again. They're not winning. You could say they're home. No fans. Home field advantage does not matter. Saints win this game 24-14. Or actually, no, high scoring. 34-24, I think. I'll take the Saints winning this game. 31-24 would put me at... I would take the over. Okay, so over on the over-under 45, and I think they cover the Saints. Next up, Giants-Seahawks. We'll preview that in a little bit. This one, I think, out of all the games this week, so we found the game in terms of maybe I should start doing that. We should find the games in terms of non-meaning games, like meaning the games that mean absolutely nothing. No matter who wins, they're done. Which is, I think, this week, probably the Bears and the Lions. I mean, maybe let's look at some other games. Yeah, probably the Bears and the Lions. You could even say, like for example, you could say the Patriots-Chargers game has no meaning, but if the Patriots, if they lose, they're probably done. If they win, they're 6-6. They're right there with the Raiders, if they lose. So they're right there with the Raiders. There's a chance. So, right? You got to watch out. So obviously, in terms of meaning, I think this is the more meaningful games. The Seahawks are 8-3 going up against a not good Giants team. I think you know who I'm going to pick. So the Seahawks, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, they get the win here, which would be 9-3. That puts so much more onto this game this week, because the winner of this game will now, let's just say the Rams win, they'll be 8-4. If the Cardinals win, they'll be 7-5. Before I get into this stuff, we'll go Rams 7-4, Cardinals 6-5. Rams are 3-point favorites, over under 40.5, just to get that out of the way. So if the Rams win this game, they've already beaten the Seahawks this season. And they beat the Seahawks this season. What was it? Like 23-16, I think. Didn't they pick Wilson off like 2 times, I think? And then they play the Seahawks again. So if the Rams win this game, they're not completely out of it. If the Rams win this game, the Cardinals, you can forget about winning the division. If the Cardinals win this game, they still have a good shot at winning the division. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If the Cardinals lose this game, their season could be in jeopardy, because now you fall to 6-6. They're very lucky their schedule pans out for them, because then you have an easy game next week against the Giants. I don't care, it's on the road, it's easy. Giants are not that good, so you got an easy game against the Giants, which is a win, which would put you then at 7-6. Then the Eagles and the Niners, those are 2 wins. That would put you at 9-6. Then you have the Rams the final in season, which would put you at 9-7, which is not a lock for the playoffs, which I think they would get in, but it's still not a lock. Cardinals would make this a whole lot more interesting if they lose. Here's my pick, though. I do give the Cardinals the win here. Here's my reasoning. I understand the Rams have a very good defense. I understand that. But when the Cardinals' offense is off, they're very bad. We can see that. I always find it's every other week. 1 week it's on, 1 week it's off. For example, you can kind of see this pattern already. They were on against the Bills. Very good game against the Bills. Then they were off against the Seahawks. Off against the Patriots. Now it's panning out to be on against the Rams. It's almost like every other week theme. Or too bad, too good, right? If you look at it, they were on against the Jets, on against the Cowboys, on against the Seahawks. Then they still had a good game against the Dolphins. They did well. They scored a lot of points, but their defense blew it late, so they were on there. And then they were on against the Bills, and then they lost their last 2 games, and they were off. Both those games were off. So you notice the games they play good offense in, they win. Look at the games. Look at the games they win. Beat the Niners, they played good offense. Washington, they played good offense. Lions and Panthers, don't want to remember those games if you're them. Jets, Cowboys, Seahawks, all good offensive games. Dolphins, they played good offense. Their defense just played really bad. Bills, they played very good offense, including a Hail Mary. And then Seahawks and Patriots, they played bad offense. So they have to play good offense, which I think is very good for this team. Very possible. I give the Cardinals the win. And I understand the Rams' defense is very good, but I've liked what I've saw to Kenyon Drake. Kyler Murray, obviously, to DeAndre Hopkins, I think will be a good combo. I know Jalen Ramsey on the other side and stuff. I get it. But I think, Jalen Ramsey locked down DK Metcalf. I think DeAndre Hopkins is better than DK Metcalf, so he's going to have a tougher time doing that. I give the Cardinals win here. I think it's going to be a very good game. 35-31, Cardinals win. I take the over on the over-under 48.5. Now I move on to the Packers and the Eagles. Packers come into this game 8-3. Eagles come into this game 3-7-1. Over-under is 48. The Packers are 8.5-point favorites. Okay, this one's another easy one. This one is literally just like the Vikings-Jaguars game. I'm taking the Packers. I know a lot of people are going into this game like, oh, the Packers have struggled. I know that the Packers are obviously, everyone's talking about, oh, they can't beat bad teams, well enough. They're 2 close games against bad teams and stuff. We understand. You're right. They've been saying that for a long time now. Okay, I know they barely beat the Jaguars. They did lose to the Colts. They crushed the Bears. Okay. The Packers, realistically, they could go undefeated the rest of the way. They can beat the Eagles. Lions, Panthers are easy wins. And then the Bears, too. And then the Titans as well. So, those are possible wins. Titans comes before the Bears, by the way. So, there's a possibility, right? So, you got to look at it. I mean, this is a Packers team that is veteran, this is why I'm actually taking them to win in a lot of games. They're veterans. They're not a young team. And they know how to focus on each game. And this is one of these games this week. They have another easy opponent next week. Got to focus on this game and get the job done. I do think they will, and I think they'll beat them up. The Eagles, no offensive line, no receiving core. Wentz looks awful. I feel bad. Wentz looks awful. Nothing at all going for them. Give the Packers the win and give them the win easily. Packers win 35-17. We'll put them at, what would that be? 52. So we take the over on the over-under 48, and I think the Packers cover. This game is interesting. Patriots versus the Chargers. Patriots come into this game 5-6. Chargers come into this game 3-8. Over-under is 47.5. I've heard the spread bounce back. I saw Patriots 1. I saw Chargers. I saw balance. Now it's even again. It's crazy how a 5-6 team it might not be the favorites against a 3-8 team. And like I said, it's Friday. This spread could change 10 more times before we hit this game on Sunday. Okay, this was a tough one to pick. So this one was definitely a tough one to pick because both these teams are interesting. You have the Patriots, 1 week they look like a contender, and then the next week they look like, is this really a team that Bill Belichick is coaching. One week Cam Newton looks like, shows flashes of Cam Newton that we've seen before. And then 1 week he looks like a guy that shouldn't even be playing in the NFL. So this is almost like the Cardinals situation. What Patriots team are you going to get? Are you going to get the Patriots team that beat the Ravens and the Cardinals? Or are you going to get the Patriots team that barely beat the Jets, did not play very well, and the Patriots team that, I think Newton threw 4 interceptions against? Or are you going to get the Patriots team against the Niners that got crushed? What Patriots team are you going to get? The only reason I'm giving the Patriots the win here is because I did not like what I saw out of the Chargers last week involving coaching and time management. And I feel like this is what this game is going to come down to, is a lot of time management and coaching decisions. And the Chargers did that awful last week. And also, Chargers have blown too many leads this season for me really to trust them to hold on to a lead. So I give the Patriots the win here. It's going to be close, though. It's going to be close. But I give Patriots the win. 28-24. Patriots win. I hate saying that, but I think it's the right move. 28 plus 24 gets me to 52. I take the over on the over-under 47.5. This is the final game for our Sunday slate. Sunday Night Football. We got the Chiefs coming in at 10-1 versus the Broncos coming in at 4-7. Chiefs are 14-point favorites. Over-under 51. This is another simple one. Chiefs beat the Broncos early on in the year. Broncos can't really do much. Chiefs are the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chris Jones, Tyrann Mathieu. And it's just one of the more dominant teams we have seen in a long time. And the Broncos, all the injuries, all the COVID situation, they don't stand a chance this game. Chiefs get a blowout win, 42-17. Blowout win. An absolute blowout win. And I will take the over on the over-under 51. I think the Chiefs cover easily. That's the game pick there. And then Washington Steelers, Bills, Niners, and Cowboys, Ravens will all be on later on. So the Washington game will be, Washington Steelers will be on Monday, and the Bills, Niners will be also on Monday, and then the Cowboys, Ravens we'll talk about on Tuesday. So you got some time for that. So yeah, those are my game picks. Let's just run through them one more time. Then we'll get to the Jets and the Jets and the Giants games. We got the Bengals, Dolphins, or I got the Dolphins winning. So I got the Dolphins winning, Titans winning, Colts winning, Vikings winning, Bears winning, Saints winning, Cardinals winning, Packers winning, Patriots winning, Chiefs winning. And then I'll go through them one more time once I'm done with the Jets picks and stuff. So now we'll move on to the Jets picks. We got the Jets coming into this game as in Jets versus Raiders, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on CBS. We got the Raiders coming into this game at 8.5-point favorites. Jets are 8.5-point underdogs, obviously. The over-under is 47 for this game. I'll tell you what. Okay, the New York Jets can't do anything. We've seen them play. You hear my rants on Monday. Every week in and week out, it's the same New York Jets team we get. Adam Gase stinks. Darnold's having a bad year overall. This team is failing on every level outside of the defense, which gives me some sort of optimism to think for the future. We've got a lot of good guys on defense. Outside of them, we stink. We absolutely stink. And it's ugly. It's ugly to say the very least for the New York Jets. It is very, very ugly. And I think the Jets lose this week once again. I'll give you my game pick in just a second. Let's go through the league rankings. Points per game. Raiders are 12th. Jets are 32nd. Points per game allowed. Raiders are 28th. Jets are 29th. Total yards per game. Raiders are 17th. Jets are 32nd. Pass yards per game. Raiders 19th. Jets 32nd. Rush yards per game. Raiders 8th. Jets 26th. Yards per game, Raiders 22nd, and the Jets 28th. Yards per game allowed, Raiders 22nd, Jets 28th. So, it's pretty sad. I give the Raiders the win here, like I usually do. I'll give them the win 21-10. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Raiders cover, and I think they win 21-10. I think the Jets might get a garbage score late. But other than that, not much is going to go for the Jets. I think the Raiders win 21-10, which would put the under on the over-under 47. I think they cover. Jets can't do anything on offense. We see it every single week. This team is garbage. The worst football team I have ever seen. I think maybe one of the worst sports teams that has ever stepped on a court, arena, or a court, ice, or field, or grass, or turf, whatever you want to say. I think this is probably one of the worst sports teams to ever step on a court, ice, or field, whatever you want to say, by far. And it's ugly. And week in and week out, I sit there and watch this team, and it's not good. It's not good at all. So I think the Jets get another loss and move to 0-12 on the season. Now we move on to the Giants and the Seahawks. Seahawks come into this game 8-3. Giants come into this game 4-7. Seahawks are 10.5-point favorites. The over/under is 47. 4:05 p.m. Eastern time on Fox is this game. Let's look at the rankings. Points per game, Giants are 30th, Seahawks are 3rd. Points per game allowed, Giants are 9th, Seahawks are 26th. Total yards per game, Giants are 29th, Seahawks are 5th. Pass yards per game, Giants are 28th, Seahawks are 4th. Rush yards per game, Giants are 15th, Seahawks are 11th. Yards per game, Giants are 10th, Seahawks are 32nd. Or yards per game allowed, yep. So there we go. So, okay. I said this I've been saying this for a long time now. The Giants are not that good of a football team. They're pretty bad. I think a lot of the media, a lot of people hype them up about them being this good team. Okay, people. They're the leader of the NFC East. Okay? You know what that means? They're the leader of the NFC East. They're not that good of a football team. And you could sit here and say, oh, well, they're still leading a division. Have you watched this team play? Do you see the rankings? If you look at the numbers, this team stinks. This team is not a good football team. And the Seahawks are a Super Bowl contender. I think the Seahawks blow the Giants out of the water. They blow them out. Absolutely blow them out. If I was the Giants, I wouldn't even play this game because you're going to get crushed so badly. Seahawks dominate them, win 35-10, and I take the under on the over/under 47, and I think the Seahawks cover. With Colt McCoy in at quarterback, Giants stink. Seahawks win this game big. So these are the picks. I have the Jets losing and the Giants winning. So I have the Jets losing, like always. So let's get into the rest of the picks here. I got Dolphins winning, Titans winning, Colts winning, Vikings winning, Bears winning, Saints winning, Saints winning. Seahawks winning, Cardinals winning, Packers winning, Patriots winning, Chiefs winning. So one more time, we got the Jets losing, obviously, like always, and we got the Dolphins winning, Titans winning, Colts winning, Vikings winning, Bears winning, Saints winning, Seahawks winning, Cardinals winning, Packers winning, Patriots winning, and the Chiefs winning. So those are your Week 13 NFL game picks. Should be another good week of football. Hopefully, again, that should be good. Alrighty. So let's get up. Fantasy football here, and coming up next, we got fantasy football. Okay, so now we move on to fantasy football. Let's see. Okay, so fantasy football this week. I'm big week for both leagues. I'm big week for both leagues, I guess you could say, in different ways. My one league, I'm trying to get the 3 seed, but I've already clinched. And in my other league, playoffs are still kind of up in the air, but I think I've pretty much clinched because I have the most points there. But I'm also trying to hold on to that 2nd seed. So this week for me in fantasy, it's the final week of the regular season in fantasy. This week for fantasy is kind of you follow what I'm saying. It's kind of I don't really know how to word it. I don't really know how I word it. It's fantasy. It's like it's kind of just it's not a I want to win obviously, but it's not one of those weeks where it's a pivotal week to win because I'm in the playoffs for both leagues. So my goal is to win in both leagues, but It's not any pivotal. It's not it's gonna make or break your season. So it's a pretty big week, but hopefully I obviously get the job done in both leagues, and we can just get into the playoffs smoothly instead of having to make it more than what it should be. But this is what I've got for this week in fantasy. For my one league, I've got the let's see here. So for my one league, I've got Aaron Rodgers, Chris Carson, Austin Eckler, Devontae Adams, Robert Woods, Hunter Henry, Todd Gurley, Packers defense, and Daniel Carlson. And my bench is Ezekiel Elliott, Juju Smith-Schuster, DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, Matt Ryan, Robert Gronkowski, Ronald Jones, and David Johnson, who is coming off of the IR, but he's still on my IR. I'll probably change that very soon. Some questionables. I'll start off with the bench. Allen Robinson, Bears head coach Matt Nagy said that Robinson was listed as questionable for Sunday's game against the Lions after injuring his knee in Friday's practice. Colleen Kane of the Chicago Tribune reports. So that's not good, especially that it was in Friday's practice, which isn't usually a good thing. But like I said, it's Friday. You've got some time. Just watch it, because it's too late if you watch it midday on Sunday and you look, oh, he's out and I started him. That's not a good idea. So just keep an eye out for that. Another questionable is Chris Carson. Carson foot was a limited participant Thursday. John Boyle of the Seattle Seahawks official site reports. So we'll probably hear more on that later on today. And for Todd Gurley, the Falcons list Gurley knee as questionable for Sunday's game against the Saints. Torrey McElhaney of The Athletic reports. Hopefully we learn more on that soon. Looks like maybe a game-time decision. I'm starting Eckler against the Patriots. I like the matchup. I know I picked the Patriots to win, but I like the matchup. I think that he'll have a good game. He had a good game last week against a pretty solid Bills defense, so I think he'll bounce back against what I think isn't that great of a defense. I'm starting Gurley. It's still kind of up in the air, though, depending on, if Gurley doesn't play, I'm putting in Al Robinson. I probably won't start. Although I like having that 3 running back set. I just like that. I am benching Elliott this week unless if something crazy happens where, let's just say Gurley and Al Robinson both don't play. I'll probably have to start Elliott. But more than likely, that's not going to be the case. I think Robinson probably won't play. If he injured in today's practice, that's not good. Because first off, you don't know the severity of the injury, and if it's something that's not good and it needs a little bit of recovery time, you can forget about it. It's not like if it happened earlier in a week and needs a couple of days to just rest, you can't, something like that. So just watch out for that. I'm starting Packers defense against the Eagles. I just like that. Eagles offense struggling, bad offense. I like that. Packers defense isn't anything overpowering, but I like the matchup there. They had a good week last week against a bad Bears offense. Probably going to have a good week again this week against a bad Eagles offense. Normal. I've loved my production out of Robert Woods. He's done everything he can. Last week he got a solid 8 points. Week before 18. He's had a very solid season. Very under the radar season. I like him against the Cardinals. No one crazy in their secondary. So I like that there as well. I like that there as well. So I'm going to take that matchup. I was going to start Allen Robinson against Detroit. That's kind of one of your decisions. I think, Allen Robinson had a big week last week. That's kind of one of that could just be your decision as well. Because Allen Robinson against Detroit's awful. Or Detroit's secondary is very bad. But, I do kind of like, I think I like Robert Woods. I think overall just better as a receiver. And now we move on to my other league. That league I'm projected to, it's 116 to 111. I'm projected to lose, so hopefully that's not the case and I win. Now I move on to my other league. I got Deshaun Watson, James Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, Hunter Henry, Raheem Mostert, Ravens defense, Daniel Carlson. My bench is Mike Evans, Kenyon Drake, Rams defense, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chris Godwin, David Johnson. David Johnson obviously is coming off of IR. We'll start with the bench questionables. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who is dealing with a stomach virus, didn't practice Friday. Adam Teicher of ESPN.com reports, which is not good, obviously. So just keep your eye out for that as well. And then A.J. Brown hip, returned to practice Friday. John Glennon of the BroadwaySportsMedia.com reports. So that is very good news for not only Titans fans, but for A.J. Brown fantasy owners. And other than that, this league's looking pretty healthy. Other than A.J. Brown and Helaire. Doesn't look like Hilaire's going to play, but Hilaire's supposed to play, but if he's dealing with a stomach virus, that's not ideal. That's not going to be good to play in. And he said he didn't practice today, right? It didn't practice. So, luckily they're home, though, so they don't have to worry about traveling tomorrow. Tomorrow it can be just a solid walkthrough. Luckily, it's a stomach virus, so, it's going to only last like a day or two. It's not like an injury, like an ankle, for example, where it could linger. So, I just hope that he gets better and hope that he gets on the field. I'm probably not going to play him unless if some wild, goofy injury happens to either Mostert, Robinson, or Gibson. But still, a very solid running back to have. I've started him many times this year. I just like my other running backs. I like Mostert against Buffalo. Not an amazing defense, but, he's almost like an Eckler. I think he'll probably have that kind of production, 12 points, 13, nothing outrageous, but be pretty solid. Last week against a very good Rams defense, he scored a touchdown, so was really impressed by that. So I liked what I saw last week out of him. That's one of the reasons I picked him up. I wanted to see, if this guy's a good week this week, I'm going to play him again. I want to see, he's coming back from that injury, so, you got to look at that and on both sides. He's coming back from an injury. He's been out for a long time, but he's also, he's going up against a very good defense. That's why I didn't start him, because you just wanted to, you wanted to see, and I didn't have any room to start him there, so. That's the deal there. Antonio Gibson against Pittsburgh. I know he's going against Pittsburgh, but the guy is unreal. I think he'll have a perfectly good game there. So that's the picks there. There's the picks and fantasy, all that good stuff. So there's this league I'm projected to win 112-93. So hopefully that is the case. So those are my fantasy lineups. Now we move on to college basketball and college football. So today there's some college basketball games on. Michigan State, Detroit. I give Michigan State the win. Creighton, Kennesaw State, give Creighton the win. Virginia, Kent State, give Virginia the win. Duke, Bellarmine, give Duke the win. Wisconsin, Marquette, give Wisconsin the win. I think that's going to be a good game, though. Seton Hall, Oregon, give Oregon the win, and Texas Tech, Troy, I give Texas Tech the win. And then for college basketball as well, Kentucky against Georgia Tech this weekend. I give Kentucky the win, only because Georgia Tech's not very good either. Kentucky's struggling this season as well, but Georgia Tech without a win either. That's on 5 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday, so hopefully they win that game. Like I've said with Kentucky so many times, we're a young team. We're not going to be amazing. We've got to pick up a couple wins here and there. This is a winnable game for us. Kansas was tough. Richmond was tough. This is a very winnable game for us. We've got to win this game and try to get back on track. For Kentucky, I give them the win there. Now for college football, Miami is in fact back this week. These are the upcoming games for today. There's some games on today. We got Louisiana, Appalachian State. I give Appalachian State the win. Or actually, no, Louisiana, I give them the win. Tulsa, Cincinnati was postponed. Oklahoma State, TCU, I give Oklahoma State the win. That's tomorrow. Okay, so we'll go with tomorrow's games now. So I give Oklahoma State, TCU, give Oklahoma State the win. Ohio State, Michigan State will give Ohio State the win. Marshall, Rice, I give Marshall the win. Texas A&M, Auburn, I give Texas A&M the win. North Carolina, Western Carolina, give North Carolina the win. Alabama, Arkansas, that got postponed, right? No, never mind. I thought Alabama. Okay. So Notre Dame, Syracuse, give Notre Dame the win. Florida, Tennessee, give Florida the win. Wisconsin, Indiana, I give Wisconsin the win. That's going to be a very close game, though. That will be a very, very close game. Indiana, though, is without their starting quarterback. He's done for the season, so that has a big effect on it. So I give Wisconsin the win. Iowa, Illinois, I give Iowa the win. Tulsa, Navy, give Tulsa the win. Iowa State, West Virginia, give Iowa State the win. Washington, Stanford, give Washington the win. Georgia, Vanderbilt, that game got postponed. BYU, Coastal Carolina, BYU the win. That's going to be a fun and interesting game to watch. Oregon versus California, give Oregon the win. Alabama, LSU, give Alabama the win. Baylor, Oklahoma, give Oklahoma the win. USC, Washington State, give USC the win. And now for Miami. Miami finally will step. Oh, Clemson versus Georgia Tech, I give Clemson the win. Virginia Tech, I give Clemson the win. Now finally Miami stepping on a football field again and then to play a real opponent. Miami comes in this game, 10th ranked team in the nation, 7-1 versus the 2-7 Duke Blue Devils. So 2-7 Duke comes in this game at 2-7. Miami Hurricanes come into this game at 7-1. 7-1. This game's on 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. Tomorrow, 8. This is on 8 p.m. 8 p.m. on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. ACC Network. I will definitely be watching. Go Miami. I give Miami the win. I think they win easily. I think they win 35-17. I think they win very easily. That's kind of just the deal there. I think they do. Duke has stunk this season. I think Miami wins very easily there, and they get the win. So that will do it for my game picks, for my my fantasy and all that good stuff. And that will do it for another good week of podcasts in the books. So, I will see you all. As you all know, I take breaks on the weekend, so I will see you all back here on Monday. So enjoy another good weekend full of football and basketball, but mainly a big football weekend again. Enjoy another good sports weekend, basketball, football, all that good stuff. Enjoy it. Saturday, all the college football. Sunday, all the NFL football, all that good stuff. So enjoy it. I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.